my secret. Just do something that ain't nobody ever done before, but make it sound like something that's always been there forever.
Welcome to This Filipino American Life, a podcast that explores the nuanced experiences of Filipinos in the United States at iba pa. My name is Ryan Carpio, and I'm joined by my fellow hosts,
Joe Bernardo,
Elaine Delalis, and
Mike.
producer Mike.
Yes.
Horn, 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 horn.
This episode of This Filipino American Life is brought to you by our T-Pal of the episode. Whoa.
Kitty Velour.
What?
Kitty Velour.
Is that really your name, Kitty?
Wow. That's the name. It might be a pseudonym. It might not.
Or it could be a real name.
It could be a real name. But thank you, Kitty Velour, for being a T-Pal and helping us produce this show. And it's just fitting because what are we talking about, Ryan?
James Bond.
James Bond.
That's not what we're talking about today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Today, we're talking about animals or pets. And I'm really excited about this episode, actually. Just because I think there's a lot to talk about. We have never talked about animals or pets. We only talk about animals in terms of food.
Wait, does anyone does any of us have a pet? Like any of us on this podcast?
I do.
At this moment?
Yes.
I do.
Yes,
You
I
do,
do.
Ryan?
Yes. Our family has a dog. Leonardo
What?
DiCarpio.
What?
You guys never met Leo?
Yeah.
Is Leo at your parents' house?
Oh, no,
Yes.
his parents' house.
Leo DiCarpio.
I do not remember Leo DiCarpio.
Leo DiCarpio is a Maltese Pomeranian.
Oh,
he
now I
was-
do remember.
Yeah.
You have a
He
little
is my
dog.
brother. My brother's dog. Yeah. We inherited it from my brother, who had Leo. When did my brother get Leo? And we'll get into this as well because I don't know how my brother obtained Leo. We'll probably get into that. 888 is Leo's birthday.
Oh,
So, very lucky dog.
It's a very lucky dog. Oh, is
I don't
that
know.
why
My brother
you
may have
him?
made it up.
Because so your mom and dad could feel lucky, like your dad can feel lucky going to the
Maybe.
racetrack.
Maybe.
Or to the casino, cut off a little
Or to
piece
the
of hair
casino.
and
Oh
know.
my god!
But yeah, Leo's great. He's a and I've had my family has had pets in the past as well, but this is our first pet in America I shouldn't say that because we probably had goldfish at
I
some
had a
point.
goldfish.
But anyway, open it up. Have you guys had pets? Good question, Mike.
I had
any
a
time in your life.
goldfish. I had two. So I bought a goldfish from the Northridge Mall, from the
Ooh.
pet store in there, and I had a really tiny fish bowl, like the kind that is used at weddings as a centerpiece. I had that for my goldfish, and I thought that would be great. And I was like maybe 9-10 years old, and I would stick my finger in the bowl to pet
Mhm.
my fish
Oh,
because I was like, I could touch it.
I was actually going to make an argument that can you call them pets if you can't pet them? But it sounds like
Well,
you pet your fish.
pet my fish. And then Sparky died the next day immediately.
Oh.
And I was so heartbroken. So we went back to the store the next day, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's not an adequate fish tank. You need to get like a real one." So we bought a fish
Oh.
tank, and we bought another fish, and so I had Sparky too, because
Electric Boogaloo?
yes, and Sparky 2 hung around for like at least a couple years.
Okay.
And that is the only type of fish pet I had at home at my parents' house. But I've always had tangential like cousin pets
Yeah.
because my cousins always had dogs. They had a dachshund named Brownie.
Of course.
You could only
Original.
guess what color Brownie was.
Yeah. Chocolate.
Orange. Yes, brown. And then I've considered myself to be an auntie to my friend Bev's dogs.
Hmm.
And then we've, at one point, like Mike and I were like dog godparents to TFL alum guest Jen Ganada's dogs.
see.
Do you ever
When-
sit them?
We did for Jen Ganada.
Okay.
We would take Pugsley and Wednesday with us on like watch them.
Take for a walk.
Yeah, take them for a walk
When we remember to go take them for a walk.
when we would remember to do that.
We're not
And
good.
Pugsley used to take human-sized poops. It was traumatizing
Oh,
watching that happen.
that took a turn. Okay.
But yeah, Joe, have you had a pet growing up?
No,
Oh, that's just a straight up no. How
that is
come?
all.
Oh,
I am very anti-pet. I don't know
Oh,
why.
this is
I'm not anti.
interesting.
Like I don't care if other people have it. That's fine.
You just don't want one.
I just don't want one. I think I won a goldfish at one of those school fairs.
The ping
School
pong ball and
carnivals.
a,
Yeah, with the ping pong ball. And I brought it home and I put it in some kind of clear,
Tabo.
some clear jar, and then we didn't have fish food, so I put breadcrumbs
Yeah.
as the food, and
Oh.
yeah, I think it died the next day.
Yikes. How old were you?
Probably middle school.
Okay.
And then no, we never had pets. My Lola was afraid of dogs. I think she was bitten when she was young
Yeah.
or something, and so we've never had pets because of that. And yeah, I just didn't grow up with them. And anytime like I see pets around, like I'm very wary of like dog hair or cat hair.
Are you allergic?
No,
Or just-
I just know it gets all over the place. It gets on my clothes. Right.
Allergic to happiness.
Get off my lawn. No, and yeah, I'd never had any pets. And honestly, I know I'm gonna anger a lot of people, but ang baho nila eh. They all stink. Like I don't know,
Okay, fair.
it makes a lot of houses smell, and cars smell, and then the owners don't notice it, and then I
Because
start
nose
They're in
deaf.
it.
yeah, and then I start smelling the dogs on them, and like I'm like, ugh, you guys stink.
Just rub them down with dryer sheets. I don't know.
I've never noticed it with dog people. I notice it with cat
With cat people?
Like
What, the
cat
smell
people
or
have
the-
a smell to me,
Oh, got it.
which I think is cat pee.
Yeah.
But dog people, I don't really. Maybe it's because like I'm allergic to cats, like deathly allergic to cats.
I'm allergic
Um,
too.
If I wasn't, I would have had a cat like a million years ago because I love cats. But yeah, with dogs, I don't think I'm allergic, but then I might be like to some long hairs because I think there's someone's dog that I was around, and I remember my eyes started to itch, and I was like, oh fuck, am I allergic to dogs? I'm gonna get sad. So yeah.
Mike, have you had dogs or pets?
I mean, we've had a cavalcade of dogs that my dad has found a way to either bring home, get from a coworker, or just like we take over from like our relative, you know. I've never been actively involved in the decision to have a pet, so like, but then like I like dogs. I like the idea of dogs. I love cats, but I'm allergic to them. But I like the idea of cats. We've had fish, but yeah, we've had like 4 or 5 dogs come through our household. But I mean, either they were so old because we got them so old and they just passed away on their own, or they would run away, like jump our wall literally and just disappear.
Oh, wow.
Or like, our last dog was
disappear.
our last dog was like this giant chow when my parents lost their house. It was never explained to me what happened to Rocky. So,
Oh.
Rocky just disappeared one day.
Oh.
You are free to go.
Yeah.
We've also had chickens. I don't know if that counts because I think my
That
dad had it in
totally
his head
counts.
that we'd have like eggs, but then either they found a way to fly away or I don't know what happened to them. Either.
Ended up in adobo.
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't know. I don't want to ask.
I have a chicken story real quick, which will lead me to my next question. But when I was 6, my uncle came from the province and says, I brought you a birthday present. And he brought this live chicken to our house. This is in the Philippines. And so I'm like, oh my God, I have a pet chicken. This is amazing. Happy birthday to me, right? So I believe we even named it. And so my family and I named this chicken. I don't know the name of our chicken. I don't remember what the name is. Again, I was a kid. I was 6 years old. And, the Sunday of my birthday, whatever it was, we had a birthday meal.
The
And
name
then
was
after
Tino.
the meal, yeah. And then after the meal,
It
we're all
became
like,
Tino
"What?"
La.
Oh God.
Pretty
Oh,
much, pretty much. And I was like looking outside. I'm like, man, there's a bunch of feathers over here. Like it was like a very like I wasn't traumatized. I didn't see it happen. I only saw just the feathers, and then my brothers were like, "Oh yeah." And my brothers are older, so in a very teasing way, he's like, "Oh, you ate the chicken. You ate your pet chicken," kind of thing.
no.
And I wasn't. It wasn't. It was only days, so it wasn't like I grew attached to this chicken. But I thought the present was it being like like sort of like a pet. But at a very young age, I was like, I was happy to eat chicken, and so I was fine. I don't think it traumatized me, but it did. It did bring up. I still remember it. I still very much remember it. So, I guess my question, the question that it leads to, is like, how do you guys view animals, and has it changed? When you were little to when you're older. Did you guys view animals kind of differently? This might be more of a question for
I mean,
Joe, who hasn't had a pet.
rest in peace, Manny. First of all, Manny Manuk. But like, I think like the idea of it was always so much more interesting, but beyond like the care part. But part of it too is like my parents, like, yeah, when we had dogs or chickens or whatever, they were kind of like, well, that's ours. They didn't
Yeah.
say that, but I mean, like, we kind of like,
Right.
I didn't get involved. And then when our last dog was ostensibly for my brother, but he didn't do anything about
But
it.
Matt does not remember that Rocky was his dog.
Yeah,
Ooh,
he denies that it
blocked it out.
was. So like, our family hasn't
he
really been good about
denies.
like having a family dog, and so like, I haven't been in a situation where like I got a chance to, find someone to join the family and make that pet a part of our family. It's always been kind of like, oh, we have a dog here now, and so I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed dog videos and memes, and like
Right.
so the idea is
Right.
always interesting to me, but also like I love steak and
You're right.
lechon, and when I was in the Philippines, every time I've been to the Philippines, you wake up to the sound of the lechon
Chicken.
being made.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you meant. I thought the cock crowing.
Why the cock crowing?
Well, both. We have
Yeah.
both. So
Cock-a-doodle doo, the lechon's being made right now.
Wow, that's an interesting chicken.
I know. How about you, Joe? I'm curious if I know you mentioned kind of like your grandma's fear of dogs, for example, but like, do you have a certain view of animals growing up, and has it changed?
I mean, I think being urbanized or suburbanized, like in the United States, you view animals as either, as pets
Mm-hmm.
or something to eat, right?
Yeah.
And then if you grew up in a farm or something, the line's a little bit blurred, right? Right. So you can have a pet goat and you eventually eat that goat later, right? Or a pet pig or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, as like, growing up in, metropolitan United States, it's, I've always viewed, just, it's either on the plate or someone has it as a pet.
Right. Elaine.
So it hasn't changed.
Oh, sorry.
Ever. It hasn't really. I mean, obviously my knowledge of, different kinds of, ways you treat animals have been, has grown, but my view still hasn't changed.
Elaine. Any thoughts?
I love animals. I love them to death. Like stuffed animals. I mean, I have tons of them. Just kidding.
Count.
But it-
animals.
Care Bears.
Care, but like, then I do. I'm not a vegetarian, so like I do
Right.
eat meat, and so
Right.
if it was up to me, we would have a dog. And Mike talking about how like his family just would show up with the dog is kind of telling, because I've been wanting to go to a bunch of these adoption events that are starting to happen again.
Yeah.
And then Mike's like, we can't go to that because if we do, we're gonna come home with a dog, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Like he knows, like, but I really, 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 really want a dog. It's just like it's hard. I mean, and people are returning their dogs after COVID because they're going back to work, which is terrible. So in the past, the shelters were empty because everybody was adopting dogs, and now the shelters are full because people are returning their dogs, and it's just heartbreaking. And I just want to be able to be like, I will take a dog home and hang out with it, and it can be my friend. And
or you can eat the dog.
No. No, thank you. No, dogs are our friend. Dogs are our friends, not our food.
So, do you guys think that there are, in different countries, like animals are viewed differently? Joe, you brought up this idea of like dog eating, for example. In the States, we have laws against things and animal cruelty and all that stuff. But do you think there are, it kind of highlights like maybe an economical need, or is it a poverty discussion on how animals are viewed in different countries, do you think? Or is it a discussion on economy? Is it just a quote unquote matter of opinion on whether or not something's acceptable and something's not?
Well, I mean, you could even think of like the class differences of dogs here in the United States, right?
Right.
In low income neighborhoods, dogs are considered like cheap alarm systems, right?
Right.
And if the richer you get, the smaller your dogs get.
Right.
The more they fit in your purse and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you go to like different countries, people consume dogs.
Right.
Not like on the regular. Maybe it's more ceremonial or whatnot, or maybe even for survival, people will eat dogs. But
Right.
yeah, I think there are varying opinions and attitudes, and the way people look at different animals.
Right. I think I made a comment once, like here, based on the economy, right? Like there's some parts of the city where dog walking is a description of a dog walking, and in some parts of the city, dog walking is a job.
Yeah.
In some parts of the city, it's like, oh look, it's a dog walking, and then hey, in the more affluent parts of the city, is like, oh look, I have a job. What do you do? Walking dogs. And the care that people have for animals in different parts, right?
Yeah.
It matters, right?
Totally. And like
that's interesting.
You could just go through like a gentrifying neighborhood and see like, is there a woman walking a poodle?
Right.
And that image is in those associations with that, right? Oh,
yeah.
This neighborhood's turning.
Right.
It's safe for white women to walk their dogs.
Right.
So,
when tell me if you guys I'm the only one who was born in the Philippines out of this group, but were you aware of like these laws of like animal cruelty laws or even spay and neuter laws in the city or the country? Like when Bob Barker would announce at the end of Price is Right, make sure to spay and neuter your pets. Like, did you know what that meant or anything like that?
I think I knew because of Bob Barker that it was a thing.
Same,
Right? Otherwise,
same,
yeah.
same.
Yeah, I didn't know what spay or neuter meant until Bob
Right.
Barker. Yeah.
Yeah. So interestingly, when my parents started sharing with me like the differences and the nuances of like living in America, right? There's a lot of things they shared with me. They shared like technology advancements. They shared things that we did in the States of what bad words were and all this stuff. One of the things that stuck out to me is animal care, and even though we didn't have pets growing up here, not until Leo. Not until 2008. I was already like in my 20s. But
Liar.
the first thing, one of the first things my parents said is, oh, by the way, in America, pets are treated very well. Like you're not supposed to harm pets. And the reason they say that is because I think to some degree in the Philippines, like your dog is like always an outside dog, right?
Yeah.
At least in the 80s when I was growing up there. I know the way dogs are treated. Sometimes they get slapped around if they're trying to be disciplined, right? Even kicked, I would say, stuff like
What?
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it just I mean, at least where I grew up, that's how it was, and so they wanted to make sure that we knew that here it's not like that. Pets are cared for. There's something as animal cruelty, you can go to jail. Like you can
Yeah.
go to jail or you can get fined. So it was ingrained in our minds early on as like pets. Because we had stray cats in the Philippines that we would feed. We cared for our pets, but in general, like other people who have their pets, my next door neighbor
Yeah.
had chicken pets, but they were also cockfighting pets, right? They
Mhm.
were bred to cockfight. They weren't bred to be petted. I mean, sure they pet them, but they were raised to fight, and so that's a thing too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I mean,
noticed
you.
when I noticed in the Philippines that like there's a lot more stray animals walking around all the
Right.
time. Right.
Mhm.
Right.
What were you
I was
saying,
gonna say,
Mike?
you teach Brownie to heal. You don't give him the heal. You know what I mean? Like, but I mean, yeah, I've seen my
Right.
grandma kick Brownie, and I mean, they had dogs. I've seen my grandma like give the foot to like Brownie and Whitey. There was a white dog, so it was Whitey,
Right.
Racist.
right? And like, and that was just like or. And I remember like when they would come to the States. I mean, I think like if we had a dog, like I think their impulse was to like pull out the newspaper and like
Mhm.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't
But it's
remember
just a
how often that
newspaper.
happened. Yeah, but I mean, still, like they wouldn't be like they wouldn't have a conversation with the dog. They'd be like, you know, like stop barking or whatever. Like it'd be like smack with the newspaper on the head until they stopped barking.
Oh
So
my
PETA is totally
god.
gonna troll us
I know,
when we
right?
release this
Oh my
episode.
all I can say is this is the '80s and those grandparents are dead now. So what are you gonna do to me?
Oh, I have a joke, a dog joke.
Oh, man.
A dad
Sure.
dog joke?
All right, let's hear it, Joe.
What is the Filipinos' favorite dog?
This is gonna be bad.
This favorite dog.
Okay, what is it?
Eh,
What
di
is
adobo men.
What?
That's terrible.
Oh man, that was rough.
Why?
Oh, so you guys didn't get that
Stupid.
one?
That was
Come on.
did it not have
come
enough
on.
bark?
All right, adobo man.
Oh,
Okay.
real quick, have you
Yes.
ever been called a dog eater?
Probably.
Yes.
You have, Mike?
I mean,
Yeah.
I can't recall. I don't know.
But that's fascinating though, right? Because like, if you called someone in a culture where they eat dogs a dog eater, it's like, yeah,
Yeah. so
versus like it's a way to like not only like other you, but also identify you as being of lower like economic or social class in some
Yeah.
ways, right? Because as you were saying earlier, Joe, and like it's kind of like there's some connection to this overall economic situation
Mm-hmm.
and like class and I mean I think the gray area between what is a domesticated pet that you pay hundreds of dollars to care for versus the one that you raise to eat later is a social construct and arbitrary, but also one
Totally.
that's used against us as brown people and Filipinos to connote our alienness and our you know it's to make us come off as like repugnant like savages
Right.
Yeah.
And so yeah, when someone uses that, it's not so much. It's not just about the dog eating, which you may or may not have done, and I haven't.
Yeah.
It's more about like your you're not civilized.
Yeah.
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 I've gotten called a dog eater in high school. And I think, back then my initial reaction was like, hey, fuck that. I don't eat dogs. Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But then, like just understanding more the nuance, like what Mike was explaining that. Yeah. Like I think people's quick reaction is to deny that Filipinos eat dogs or something.
Mhm.
But like It's true. Some Filipinos eat dogs. So
Yeah, and there's a whole conversation about colonization and how much do we accept the values of the colonizing societies versus if it wasn't great in our culture, why should there be shame around that? You know?
Yeah, totally.
I know
I think
that
the more repugnant thing is dog hotels and shit like that.
what like
When we have a
that's
huge homelessness problem and there's like fucking dog hotels.
well, because they're dog. It's called boarding, Joe. When people go out of town, you have to put your dog somewhere, so it's called
Yeah,
boarding.
it's called the backyard or the garage.
No, you can't just. Wow. This is why joking.
Peter,
It's
this
dog,
is Joe
dog
Bernardo.
sitter. No, I think in this country there is, not to go in this direction, right? But like,
People treat their pets better than they treat people. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the whole Michael Vick of it all. And I know this might get spicy, but I think
Ooh,
is dog
bring up that
fighting
name.
a terrible thing? Absolutely. Should he have been punished? He was, and he did. But to the extent of the vitriol that he was attacked on,
no.
I think no. And it had a lot to do with him being a black man in America
Mhm.
and the stereotype of what dog fighting means in this country, and the precedence of putting animals, pets like dogs, above people of color. So I mean, this is getting really hot at the beginning.
I know, right? Okay, so let's let me ask kind of a fun question to help us wrap up, because we do have a couple of guests that I will introduce in a little bit. So in terms of like animals, have you guys ever wanted to have a pet animal? Not considering the smells and all that stuff. Like if there's an animal that you could be like, like easy, like I've always wanted to have a pet, blah blah blah. What would that be? I wonder if that's something that
It'd be a
you
Welsh
guys-
corgi.
Yeah.
I've
Okay.
always wanted a Welsh corgi. In fact, when we got married, Jen Ganada actually almost gifted us a Welsh corgi, and I made the mistake of asking Auntie Tessie if it was okay for us to get this. as a
Our
baby
landlady
gift.
at the time.
Our landlady at the time.
Okay.
And I didn't practice ask forgiveness, not permission. I asked permission and then was denied because we had, and so we
Okay.
never got that Welsh corgi. But I guess it all works out because our apartment had stairs, and that's always bad
Yeah.
for like a small dog. But for sure. And I still remember being a kid, and I was at my best friend Jen's house, different Jen, not Jen Ganada. And the next door neighbor had a dog that had puppies,
Mhm.
and they were giving them away, just giving dogs away. And I was
Puppies
at
for
Jen's
everyone.
house. And when Jen got to pick, and I love that your dog is called Leo DiCaprio because her old
Yeah.
dog was called Leo.
Leonard Bernstein,
And
Leo Burney.
I was there when Jen got Leo Burney.
Oh. Okay.
And there was a black and white dog that I had already in my brain was like, that's my dog, and I'm going to take that dog home. I'm going to call them Oreo. Like, I already knew. And when my dad picked me up, he was like, I'm sorry, Elaine, no. And I was like, but Dad, it's free. It's a free dog. And I was like crying. And then I was like, and then Leo and Oreo can be brothers and like, but like live far away. Come on, Dad. And I begged him. And he said no.
Mm.
So I think it's just because I lived in a townhouse and it was just small. And my parents had like dogs are for outside mentality. I feel like that's very like Filipino for the Philippines. Dogs are from outside mentality. We didn't have outside. So
Joe,
Outside mentality.
I know.
It's like crab mentality.
And any dream pets, like raising a pet lobster like Homer Simpson, maybe?
No,
Pinchy. So delicious.
probably a turtle.
Okay, fair.
Yeah,
They live a long time. They're
Yeah.
slow.
they're
you
slow.
can feed it pizza.
They don't smell.
Well, they
They
do.
smell. They
They
smell,
smell,
Joe.
bro. Yeah.
Oh my God, they stink.
Never mind that.
And salmonella. Okay.
The only thing I should say is that my daughter Chrissy likes to like look at dogs and start petting dogs and stuff like that.
Oh,
So it might be I foresee like an argument in the future.
I
about
see.
having
With her?
pets. Yeah.
Of like one day her best friend is gonna have a dog have next door have puppies and Chrissy's gonna beg you
I
to
hope
take
not.
one home.
No.
Oh man.
Mike,
How about you,
what's your
Mike?
ideal dog? Or not dog,
pet.
sorry, pet.
No, pet.
Wow. My actual ideal would have been a cat if I wasn't allergic.
There you go.
So,
Meow. Kitty.
but I mean, like, because I am allergic, corgi, also, which I already have a name if we ever get a corgi, which is Wolfgang von Eisenstein the Third.
Baron.
Oh, my.
Baron Wolfgang von
Baron
Eisenstein the
Wolfgang.
Third, aka
Oh,
Ein,
my.
from Cowboy
How'd you
Bebop.
get that name?
I just thinking like,
So,
what is the most?
in
I think dogs should have
Bebop-
fancy names.
In Cowboy Bebop, which is an anime, there's a corgi in the series called Ein.
He's
So
like a smart,
that's-
like
he's a
a literal
smart
like
dog.
smart, like a data dog. Anyways,
And
that
then Wolfgang because we wanted him to be fancy, and then Baron because the dog needed a title. And see, we already
when it goes to the dog hotel, it's got to come in with some statue. I mean, I guess a close runner up would have been like a Shiba Inu, like especially one that would own like Yam Shack and like sell like sweet potatoes like in the one in Japan.
Oh my.
Mike and I watch a lot of Japanese videos and content where dogs own things or dogs are special.
Yes.
So,
Anyway,
Ryan, what would be yours?
I always wanted a pet monkey.
Ryan,
my God.
no,
Or like some
Ryan,
kind of
no.
like or a chimp. I know, but
No.
when I was a kid I was like, oh, those things would be awesome. Like
Rip
Project
your face
X.
off.
Was that the movie?
Project X. Yeah. With Matthew Broderick.
Oh my god!
Help.
Rip-
Apple.
Rip
you
your
know?
face off. Rip your face off.
Anyway. But
I don't know about that. It might be like, Planet of the Apes. Like that might take over the world.
Yeah.
So-
And there's a bunch of different animals out there that people care for. Like there's folks with pet snakes and iguanas, and I was able to go to a hedgehog. Was it a hedgehog cafe
Cool.
at some point to pet hedgehogs in Tokyo? There's cat cafes out there. Like animals are kind of like next level, man. But there's definitely some more things to talk about. But thank you for indulging me with all those stories and questions. We do have a couple of special guests coming up. We have Dr. Maria Solicito, who is a senior veterinarian from LA County Department of Animal Care, Animal Care and Control, who's going to join us in a little bit to talk about animals, and also the Dr. Ronaldo Joey Vasquez, who runs the North Figueroa Animal Hospital here in Southern California. He's also known as Dr. Joey. We're really excited to have them on and just talk animals for the next episode. So stick around. We'll be back right after this message.
Hey y'all, how you doing?
Hey, Joe.
Hello.
Doing fine. Feeling strong
Feeling strong? Why do you feel
Yeah.
strong, Ryan?
because I'm vaccinated.
Oh.
Me too.
Me 3.
me 4.
Yes, we are all vaccinated. It does feel good to be vaccinated. Sense of relief for us and our loved ones. But so many people need to get vaccinated just here in the U.S., let alone the world.
Yeah, TFL supports We Can Do This, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services nationwide COVID-19 and vaccine education campaign.
Hey, you got to remember, everyone 12 and over is eligible for a COVID-19 vaccination. We need everyone to do their part to help defeat this virus so we can get back to spending time with the ones we love, like you guys. I miss you all, seeing you in person. So, if you want to help the people you care about, find a vaccine at vaccines, that's with an S, vaccines.gov. You can also text your zip code to 438-829 or call 1-800-232-0233.
It's so quick. Have you tried it? You just have to enter your zip code and a bunch of local places will pop up, and then you'll know where the COVID-19 vaccines are available.
And just remember, COVID-19 vaccines are very safe and they are effective. None of us have gotten COVID-19 since we've been vaccinated. Um, FDA authorized COVID-19 vaccines are nearly 100% effective at preventing severe illness, hospitalization, and death. It's free regardless of health insurance status or immigration status. Talk to your doctor. We encourage you to do your own research at cdc.gov/coronavirus for more information. Thank you all.
Thank you. And let's get back to partying together once we're all vaccinated.
And we're back. Thank you for
Welcome
listening to our commercial there. We are joined by two very special guests. Dr. Maria Solicito is joining us, who's a senior vet at the Los Angeles County Department of Animal Care and Control. And she'll be sharing with us her experiences being a veterinarian. And we're also joined by a chief veterinarian at North Figueroa Animal Hospital, Dr. Ronaldo Joey Vasquez, also known as Dr. Joey, who's been providing quality vet care and affordable health care for the past 15 years in Los Angeles in the underserved communities. So welcome, Dr. Joey. Welcome, Dr. S, to This Filipino American Life.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Pew, 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 pew.
Thank
Oh
you
no,
for
my
having
voice.
us.
There you go.
There you go.
It's like it was so low. I turned my phone low.
Thank you guys for joining us remotely. I hope you guys are doing well.
Doing well. Thank you for having us.
Yes, this is I've been so excited to talk about this. Most of the time we talk about food and basketball and I don't know, traveling
Basket food, food baskets.
and like the nuances of our Filipino American living. But this is special because I've actually gotten a chance to work with animal care organizations in the past. But before we get to that, I wanted to throw a first question to Dr. S. Let's start with you. Tell us a bit about your background and how you got from when you were a little kid and your thoughts about animals to becoming a veterinarian
And the meaning of life.
and the meaning of life.
Okay, I'll try to get into that for how many hours do we have? Okay, so I am Maria Solicito. I was born and raised in the Philippines, in the province of Albay. I am a proud Bicolana. And I migrated to the United States 22 years ago, already as an adult professional. So how did I become a veterinarian? That is actually a very interesting story because I never knew what a veterinarian was until I got into vet school. So what happened was, you know how in the Philippines, right out of high school, they ask you to sign up for a college course, and usually that is determined by the family trade. And I came
Yeah.
from a family of lawyers. Both of my parents are lawyers. My two elder sisters were already in a pre-law course when they went to college. So when it was my turn, there was an expectation of me going into the same route, but I didn't want to be just another one of the family members. And so I didn't know what I wanted to be. And when we were filling out our college application, I have a high school classmate who was a Filipino American. She's half American, half Filipino, filling up her paperwork, and she wrote down veterinary medicine. I kind of looked over and I said, "Ooh, what is that?" And she's like, with such pride, she said, "I'm going to be a doctor of dogs and cats." That kind of like, "Ooh, doctor." I kind of like that. So I copied her application.
Wow.
Then I got into vet school. I didn't have any other, any better options, I guess. So I just went through college, and now here I am.
Wow.
And I came to the United States. I worked on my U.S. license, found me a job with the county, and before you know it, I am the senior veterinarian. So
Oh my god.
Ah,
So the lesson learned is
Copy your neighbor.
Copy your friend.
Exactly. There is a benefit to copying your classmate's paper, right? So,
Maybe another lesson is like, don't be afraid to explore new things you don't understand yet, right?
Yeah.
And copy your friend. Copy your friend.
Yeah, and that too.
I
Oh my
think
gosh.
it's just putting one step ahead, one
Yeah.
at a time, and before you know it, it just leads you to a path that you never realized what you really wanted and you're passionate about. So
So when you're a vet in the Philippines already, a veterinarian in
yes,
the Philippines. So when you came here, was it difficult to like become a US vet? Is it different?
yes. I guess back home, I always had this nagging feeling that whatever it was that I had there, because I graduated. Oops, I'm not gonna say when. About 3-4 years after graduation, I just felt that I did not fit in for
Mm,
whatever I tried working with cattle, poultry,
mm,
teaching, small animals. It just was not something that I did not fit in. And
yeah.
that's when
Wow.
I had an opportunity to come to the United States and I was introduced to the kind of medicine that is
Hmm.
being practiced here. That actually kind of encouraged me to and motivated me to learn.